Hi, and welcome to the podcast where we love Life is Strange more than Max loves her selfies. Wowzer. We are talking about Max today, but first we are very excited to introduce our new co-host, Jess. Hi, Jess.
Hey, guys.
Okay, so pretty much we have to ask you a few questions so the audience kind of is familiar with who you are. So pretty much the first question is just, who are you? Just summarize it up a little bit.
Well, I'm a 17-year-old artist. I go to school in the USA. I obviously love Life is Strange. Also a huge fan of The Hunger Games. I run a few fan pages on Instagram, draw a lot. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. I don't really have any interesting backstory or anything.
Yeah, none of us do, but the important thing is that you like Life is Strange, otherwise, why are you here?
Yes, exactly.
So, how did you find out about the game, pretty much? Yeah.
How I found out about the game? Well, I watched my favorite YouTuber, Joey Graceffa, play a couple episodes of the game, and by episode 3, I was so hooked on the game, so I just went onto Steam and bought it and started playing it, and I got ahead of him, and this was probably around May or June, and I got so hooked on it, and it really just impacted me. And I would always show my friends the game and introduce it to them, and they always liked it, so I knew I found something good. So yeah.
So what are your favorite characters in the game?
Originally my favorite character was Chloe, only because she's so rebellious, but towards the end of the game I have to say my favorite character is Max, because I can just relate to her so much. Being an 18-year-old artist, I'm a photographer, I love photography, just being geeky and introverted, and I can totally relate to that, so I'd have, Max is probably my favorite.
All right.
That's a pretty good segue.
Yeah. So, Max is an 18-year-old girl. She was born September 21st, 1995. Or I should say 18 at the time of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother and father are Ryan and Vanessa. Or I should say her father and mother, Ryan and Vanessa. And today, we are going to dissect Max verbally.
Not literally.
Not literally.
That'd be a bit weird. Okey-doke. So where should we start off?
Well, we start off with Max in Blackwell Academy. She's been there for about a week now, I think, when the game first starts. Not very long, anyway. She started at the school late, where she has a vision of a tornado, and kind of freaks her out naturally, and she goes to the bathroom to kind of collect herself, where after who we find out to be Chloe gets shot, Max discovers that she has time rewinding abilities.
Which is one heck of a twist. Because when I first found out the game, I didn't know you could do that. And it was just wait, what the heck's happening? Oh no. And pretty much you go back and save Chloe from getting shot. Then by pulling the fire alarm, then you just leave the building to Get Warren's flash drive, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that flash drive.
So this is kind of where we start, I guess, seeing the timid nature of Max, because after you pull the fire alarm, to David, and then you talk to Principal Wells, and you kind of see, like, very early on that, you know, she has a hard time talking to adults. She's very nervous around them, very unsure of herself, unsure of what to do or say. So that just sets the tone for, I guess, the baseline of Max. Mm-hmm. And, you know, how she develops later on is kind of player dependent, somewhat. But, so let's talk about, I guess, her relationship with Chloe, since that's the first interaction, other than Warren. That's really the first introduction of, like, a major character. It's been 5 years since she's really talked to Chloe, and she doesn't even recognize that it's Chloe who's in the bathroom. So they're kind of on shaky grounds. I mean, they just, like I said, it's been 5 years since they've spoken to each other. Max feels pretty guilty about it, especially considering right around when she left Chloe.
William died.
Right. So when you do meet up with Chloe, it's basically she saves you from Nathan while Warren gets the crap beat out of him. And they kind of, you know, you have the truck scene where they're talking about, you know, what's happened the past 5 years. Chloe's pretty mad about Max not even bothering to let her know that she was in town again.
As she should be.
Right.
But,
and so throughout the game, there's several moments it's all determinant on how the relationship builds. Does it have more of like a romantic interest toward the end? Is it, you know, does it stay platonic? Is it, you know, a rocky friendship at best? That type of thing. So Jess, what ended up with your relationship, Max's relationship with Chloe toward the end?
What happened in general, or in my opinion?
Yeah, like, well, just how you developed their relationship.
Oh gosh, okay. I was a kind of like a Pricefield shipper, you could say. It's like shipping, like I like Max and Chloe together. But then, I don't know, like what I felt was right would be to save Arcadia Bay over Chloe, but for their relationship, I think that they have a very strong relationship towards the end, like because of like everything that they've been throughout the whole video game. I don't personally know, because I can't really speak from experience that I've had a relationship like that. But I think based on what the choices that you make throughout the game, which is what makes the game so great, is that it's totally your choice, and opinion. But yeah, I think Chloe and Max definitely have some sort of relationship with each other, whether it be just friends or something more. It's definitely something very strong, considering Max like puts life before Chloe's in multiple situations, and it feels like throughout the game, everything she does is for Chloe. Every decision she makes is to benefit Chloe, and I can't see how it couldn't be just friends, you know? Like, yeah.
Yeah. I guess I mean, I developed Max and Chloe's relationship to be, I saved, which our listeners already know, but I saved Chloe at the end.
Yeah.
And
all of us did, right?
Well,
what?
Jess just said she saved Arcadia.
Well, no, I saved Chloe first, and then I went back to save Arcadia because, I don't know, I wanted to see both versions, but originally I did save Chloe's. When I first watched it, I was like, no, this can't, like, after everything they've been through, like, no, like, Chloe has to live. But if I were to do it again, knowing outcomes, I probably would save Arcadia Bay. But I can see why, like, you guys have picked Chloe. Like, yeah, I totally get that.
There's a few decisions you can make through the game that really, like, so one of the big, like, well, I say big, it's a little smaller detail, but one of the things that can happen is, I believe it's in episode 3, when you check the background of Chloe's phone, it'll either have a picture of Rachel or Chloe. So there are a few different things that you can do. You take the fall for the weed, for the joint in Chloe's room, and I believe there's like 3 total, and you have to do at least 2 of them, but I could be wrong. But one is answering Kate's phone call, and then one is shooting, or pulling the trigger on Frank.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get back to to Chloe and Max a little bit later, but Max actually has the potential to develop a very strong friendship with a lot of people, actually.
Yeah.
I think the second most notable is her relationship with Warren. Which, depending on how you play, can be romantic interest, or it can just be friends. There's several like opportunities to, I guess, win Warren over. But let's kind of I guess dive into her relationship with Warren a little bit. Warren is 16-year-old science student. He's supposed to be pretty gifted, obviously, because he's 16 years old and a like senior age U.S. high school school, and he's very, very interested in math. He just kind of, I won't say head over heels, but he's very, very interested in Max. Always asking her to hang out, stuff like that. Jamie, you actually, correct me if I'm mistaken, but you actually kind of developed her relationship with Warren a little bit more than I did.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, because basically I tried to be nice, but try to be nice with Warren, but I didn't want Brooke to hate me either. So I kind of just kind of kept my distance from trying to be as nice as possible, like helping Warren with his test in episode 2, I think it is.
Right.
Yeah. But I think the most notable part of like Warren's and Max's relationship is when they're in the Two Whales Diner in episode 5.
Right. Yeah, because if you don't do enough to develop their relationship, you won't even get the option to kiss Warren, whether you choose it or not. You won't even have that option.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I kind of suspected it was like going to be the last time that I was going to see Warren in the game. So I just like, I will go for it. Why not?
Yeah. But if you choose to kiss Warren, doesn't that affect your relationship with the result of Chloe in the end?
Nope. No, because at the end it still was pretty much the same.
Oh.
Because when I went back to play the Sacrifice Chloe ending, they still kissed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow. Because when I did it like 4 times, and like I couldn't like even if I didn't even look at Warren, I thought like if you choose Warren, like you can't choose Chloe. Like I thought you had to pick one or the other, and I don't know why, but it just got for me. Yeah.
You can you can actually do so. That's going back to Chloe. Actually, that kiss is determined on a lot of the decisions that you make with Chloe if you choose to sacrifice her. But the kiss with Warren is actually, it doesn't have any bearing on it because you end up photo hopping anyway. And so essentially that timeline is resolved. You'll have like an auto at max left in that timeline, and then your consciousness goes back to the timeline that you finished the game out in.
Sure. At the Vortex Club.
Right.
I don't know why, but that scene in particular with Max and Chloe kind of got to me a bit. You know, when Max was trying to convince Chloe to not go in and all that.
Yeah.
With different dialogue options.
Got you how? Like emotionally?
Yeah.
Made you cry?
Almost. I will admit, when Max started to tear up, I almost did. Because I felt really bad.
Yeah. Great job by Hannah for voice acting. Like that whole scene it gave me the chills, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, she did a great job in the game.
She did.
Really.
Yeah, she really did. And she's like so humble about everything too. Yeah, she like demands so much respect.
Because she's somewhat active on Instagram, not as much as on Twitter.
Yeah.
She always takes time to reply to stuff, which is really nice of her.
Absolutely, yeah. She replies to like every single comment, so.
Yeah, because like before this game came out, I had no idea who she was, and now after playing it, I feel like an ass for like not knowing who she is. Because she is really talented, and because she can like play the guitar, she can sing. Because that cover of Obstacles that she posted, my word!
Oh man, gave me goosebumps.
I'm just really excited what she does in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. She's coming out with an album, actually. I think.
Yes.
Said this month, but I'm not sure.
We'll definitely keep everyone posted about that album. Tell everyone to go buy it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a giveaway for a copy of the album or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do it live. Not really live, because all these episodes are pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, so getting back on track. Okay, so we were talking about Max and Chloe outside the Vortex Club. And
right.
But to be honest, just in episode 4, like roundabout where that scene happens, I think another kind of important sorry, I can't words good. Important relationship happens with Victoria, of all people, because
I know.
Because throughout the game, depends on how you play it. You know, she could be absolutely evil towards you, like trying to, like, you know, just like hating you and all that stuff, or you can try and be somewhat nice, which if you do that in episode 4, it completely backfires on you in episode 5.
Yeah. But I guess you do kind of see, even though it backfires on you in that you kind of see, I guess, like, just effect that Max has on other people eventually, like if you play it like nicely and all that, because, you know, it's one of the only times that you see Victoria vulnerable, and she's, you know, she's relying on Max, and she's like extreme. So I guess in a way, even the people that dislikes kind of do like her, just so wrapped up in their own stuff.
Yeah. I think I've only seen Victoria like somewhat vulnerable 3 times in the entire game, and that's when you apologize to her in episode 1 about the paint.
Mm-hmm.
The ending of episode 2 when she's crying in her bedroom, and episode 4 when she's she's talking to her and how she's pretty much jealous of Max's talent and whatnot.
Yeah.
Also, if you so a lot of Max's like personality comes from reading the journal. A lot of you get like her inner thoughts towards other people, other than like the big stuff that happens through the game. A lot of like the smaller things is, and so if you choose to be nicer to Victoria, you kind of see Max go from being like this, like, God, I can't stand Victoria, I wish she would just leave me alone and shut up, and to like more empathetic and sympathizing with some of Victoria's like insecurities and stuff. And and then there's actually like at one point I think it's during the during one of the photo jumps back to the classroom, Max tells Victoria that, Victoria, you're super talented. You like, what are you doing being so freaking mean to everybody? Like, you don't need to do that. So, you kind of see Max just grow up a little bit through that, because it starts out them bickering constantly and it being this like ongoing dude, but Max kind of grows up a little bit, and at the very least shows some compassion. She still doesn't really tolerate Victoria's bullcrap, understandably so, but it has different tone to it. But you can actually choose to not come Victoria after you spill paint on her. You can make fun of her, and then Victoria will trash your room. Yeah. So you can go that route if you want to. If you want to come,
which will eventually hurt you.
Right. So there's just all of the characters are very, very interconnected, and your relationship with some can kind of affect your relationship with others. Like you mentioned, like Jamie, you didn't want Brooke to hate you for liking one. That's so your Max's relationship with Brooke is kind of dependent on your relationship with Warren. Brooke is kind of standoffish towards Max. She'll warm up a little bit depending.
It's mainly about the driving, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of the big point of contention there. If Warren to take Brooke, then it's she's a little bit, she warms up to you a little bit more.
I feel like she's so jealous of Max for like having Warren like her so much.
Yeah. And then, ironically enough, in the alternate timeline, Warren goes after Stella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why, that kind of made me laugh a little bit the first time I played it.
It was kind of funny, yeah.
Poor Brooke.
Yeah.
But that brings up another, like, hitting back on Victoria in the alternate timeline. Max and Victoria are really, really close friends. Which is kind of an interesting talk.
Yeah, I mean, Max is actually in the Vortex Club, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I remember, it's like, I think it was Courtney who said, like, why did we let her in the club in the first place and stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but Courtney, you can also develop that relationship a little bit too. If you find out about her mom,
that's
and Oh.
Courtney's the one who gives you like the dress code at the Vortex.
Oh, okay, right. That's embarrassing. Okay.
Right, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, you're fine.
Just like the mistake that we all made with Victoria.
Ooh.
Yeah. I honestly, I think we've got pretty much 3 people, like, left who have a somewhat big impact on the game and Max's relationship with, which is Kate, Nathan, and Mr. Jefferson. I think they're the big 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's start with Kate.
Yeah.
She's a big favorite, and also we just interviewed Diane. Max and have a very, very strong friendship with Kate. And it's honestly really heartwarming. You help Kate out through the entire thing, and if you keep her from killing herself, you get the hospital scene where they get to kind of reconnect. There's a lot there. I do kind of wish that they got to have tea, but it's okay. It's happening in my mind. They got their tea time.
Happens in our imaginations.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Jess, did you save Kate?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was actually kind of it was relatively easy for me to save her, only because I've seen Joey try to save a million times, so I already knew the answers of what to ask her and what to tell her and everything. But yeah, I mean, if this was real life, I don't see I could actually let someone do that to themselves. I feel like it'd be absolutely horrible. And I don't know, she had such a huge impact on Kate and her life. So, I mean, if it took an hour, if it took 2 hours, I would have done it. But yeah, I definitely saved Kate without a problem. I didn't have a second choice.
That just reminds me of how I saved Kate, where I didn't at first, so I just turned off my Xbox and I had to replay the entire episode.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. It was fun though. At least I actually got to save her in the end.
That's good.
So one of the big things that helps saving Kate is snooping. Max does love to snoop around everybody's business. You can, like, pretty much any dorm go in, you can just rifle through all of their things. But there's a lot of like you learn Kate's favorite verse. You see the picture of her family, that type of thing, which brings up prompts to what to say to Kate. But this sequence is also the what?
I was just saying, even if you don't look at the stuff, the prompts come up anyway, which is a bit odd.
Right. So I should say that the prompts are there, but it makes it harder to know what to choose.
Yeah,
I guess.
You've got a 1 in 4 chance of choosing the right one.
And this is it's the first and only time that we see where Max is able to actually stop time. And I guess we also see the effect that it has on her. Is like it makes her so weak, but by the time she gets up to the roof, she isn't able to use her rewind abilities. So this is, I guess, one of those like I guess you could see it as kind of like a true Max moment, like, Max rising to the occasion on herself. And this is actually like pretty big for Max too, because if you save her, I think it mentions in the journal how like she did that without the use of her powers, gave her a lot more confidence in herself and like her ability to have this relationship with other people to make friendships and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is like one of the few times where I guess you could say you see like, what Max is truly capable of on her own. Without the ability to rewind and change her answer.
Just seeing like Max trying to like her best to save Kate on the roof is just probably one of the the highlights of the game for me out of all episodes.
Yeah, very powerful.
So I think
Definitely.
we should move on to the next character, which we should probably go into Nathan first and then go on to Mr. Jefferson because he's a bit more complex.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can't really change. Well, you probably can, but I personally didn't do it. You can try and be as nice as you can to Nathan, despite what you see in episode 1 before you rewind. That Nathan shoots Chloe, and yeah. Since I've seen that moment and I realized who Chloe, that was Chloe, in the parking lot and all stuff, I had a grudge against Nathan for the entire game. It's like anything he would say, I just wouldn't believe him. And if, even in episode 2, it's like Principal Wells asking why did Kate jump, and I just said, oh, it gives me nothing to blame Nathan. That was easy. But then towards like episode 5, when you get the voicemail and you find out it was actually Jefferson who's responsible for all this stuff, it's just made me feel bad. It's like I know he was responsible for his actions, even though they didn't actually happen in that timeline, but he was just a puppet, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only really I guess difference in interaction that you can see in the game with Nathan is if you don't blame him, he doesn't try room. That's really the only significant I guess difference in Max's relationship with Nathan, because everything else happens pretty much regardless of what you do.
Yeah. Because even if you say, to Principal Wells that he was in the bathroom with a gun, he still, no matter what you do, he still finds you in the parking lot.
Right.
And he's still pretty angry.
Yeah, so you play the whole game up until pretty much the final episode, just with Max hating Nathan, being terrified of him, thinking he's dangerous, which, to be fair, he was dangerous. But she just does not like him at all. But then again, in the alternate timeline, they're friends. So that's really the only, I don't know, I guess, opportunity you see them as friends is just for that very quick snippet.
Yeah. I think it's kind of funny how, just the change of how, you go from hating him to, all of a sudden, episode 5, you just feel, an overwhelming, sense of, I just feel so bad for him. It wasn't, I know he did kill Rachel with and overdid everything, but, I mean, I feel like because he is so, messed up in his head, it's almost, because of the guidance that having, from Jefferson and his parents just kind of, ignoring him and, kind of just casting him away, you just kind of feel bad for this guy. He's not, I mean, yes, he's responsible for his actions, but it's also kind of not his fault, and it's just, you just feel so bad,
Yeah, it's a very, very precarious situation with him.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's time to move on to the final main relationship, which is Jefferson, because if I'm right, it does a complete 180 degrees from the start to the end of the game, right?
Oh yeah.
Max's opinion on Jefferson.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like Max at the beginning, I came to Arcadia Bay again just because of Mark Jefferson, and funny enough, Jefferson was behind it all, and just Max just absolutely despises him for killing Chloe.
Well, not only that, but also because he has her tied up and is about to kill her too.
Yeah, probably that too, but it's probably more the Chloe.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like if you read her journal, like you said, when if you read her journal, she came to Arcadia Bay because Jefferson was teaching, or to Blackwell, excuse me, because Jefferson was teaching pretty much. She holds him in like super high regard, just respects him, like respects his opinion. I think the reason that or at least that I gathered, was one of the reasons why she didn't submit herself is because she was kind of afraid of like Jefferson not liking it. So it's kind of like I don't know, I guess where she was just like so like wanted him to have a good opinion of her that it kept her from doing things altogether. But yeah, then as time progresses, well, I won't say as time progresses because it's a pretty big surprise to Max. What happens? You find out Jefferson is the bad guy.
And even through like alternate timelines in like small bits, when you try to burn your photo, try and rip it up before you submit it to Jefferson, he pretty much burns the journal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of shows his outrage towards Max's decision of doing that.
Right. And so Jefferson kind of looks at Max as like this, like just this ultimate subject for him to shoot. Like she has that very like, she's naive. She has that very young innocence about her, which is like, what Jefferson jams on, because a disgusting human being. But so that's like just like the type of that he digs. And so like Max, to him, he was like trying to develop Max because she was the ultimate model for him, more so than any of the others that he had done. And I don't know, it's creepy.
Yeah, it really is.
Poor Max.
I think it was because like most people hate him because he's like one of the people that you at least expect to actually be behind it.
Right.
But like even when people like the community was like going back after playing episode 4 whilst episode 5 was being made, that there were really small signs that it was actually him, because the big giveaway is the quote, "I could trap you in the dark corner in a moment of desperation." It just creeps me out, man. I think that's pretty much it regarding Jefferson.
Yeah. That's pretty much their relationship, is just a very unsettling one.
Definitely made me
want to... Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, it definitely made me want to almost throw up when she in her nightmare has that
when you're
connect with him.
Forced to choose the dialogue option.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I love you, Mr. Jefferson.
Interestingly enough, I think that is like, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think that's kind of like a manifestation of her guilt for like how much she liked Jefferson, up until she found out that he was responsible for, pretty much anything terrible that's going on. And I think personally, like, Don't Nod did a really, really awesome job of like kind of showing just this guilt that Max had for admiring so much, and that was like being forced to, just sing these praises to Jefferson in her nightmare sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Which, the nightmare sequences, the whole thing is just kind of like an expression of like how Max feels her insecurities towards a lot of people. Because you go through like some really like the whole maze sequence where you have to stay out of vision of pretty much male characters that are in the game is, like Max's fears about it. Like it represents, of course, her fear for Jefferson, which is obvious at this point. Wells is kind of this like, this, well, he's like the lighthouse type deal in the middle, that you have to sneak past. He's kind of just overbearing.
I think Warren's is the creepiest.
Yeah,
exactly.
he and I think that is like kind of is like, okay, does Warren just see me as a friend? Does he just, does he want to appreciate me, or is, he just like infatuated with me? And like that's kind of what I gathered from it with Warren in that sequence.
Or what did you think of Chloe and Warren kissing in front of Max in her nightmare?
Felt wrong.
I mean, it kind of shows like relationships with both of them if they want, if she would be bothered by both of them kissing, like.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Especially with Victoria as well, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm Nathan.
And then of course, you have at the end of that, you have Max confronting herself, kind of her own.
Oh, that's just
self-conscious.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Just talking about all the Maxes that she left behind. She was only doing it for herself.
Right.
She didn't really care about anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, didn't she say that like Chloe was using her in a way? Or am I just making that up?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Didn't she say what?
Didn't she say that Chloe was using Max? Or am I just making that up?
Yeah.
No.
Right. But still.
Yeah, so I guess like
that scene, man.
I don't know. Again, I guess to take a another armchair psychologist approach to it, like it's kind of like her. I guess her anger that she felt is like a manifestation, and her saying that is like a manifestation of her anger that she felt for just how childish Chloe could be about certain things, and was just like trying like her and her own self doubt too about her relationship with Chloe, which she resolves and she's pretty rude about it in the end, but it's just kind of like Chloe's just using you, like she doesn't actually care about you, you're just here, and she's just using you for your powers, that type of thing. A lot of people, I know we talked about this in the Accent 5 episode, but a lot of people saw that as filler, and that's fine, I guess. Well, it's unfortunate, but the whole nightmare sequence was like really awesome to me, and just kind of like, I don't know, just bringing Max's subconscious to light. And to me, it helped me connect with Max like a lot more than I already had.
What she was thinking pretty much all the time.
Yeah, like, and just having these like, yeah.
Definitely one of the best.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of other smaller minor characters that Max interacts with, where you kind of get a feel again for Max's personality. But this episode would be like 3 hours long if we went over every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Frank and his beans.
Yeah, I think if we get around to it in the future, we could maybe do a reprise of this with the smaller characters in the game.
Yeah.
That might be an interesting episode.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing, Max's powers. You never find out how she gets them. You never find out why she has them. It's just a thing that she has. Which, personally, I don't know how you guys feel about it. Personally, fine with that. I think it makes the whole rewind thing more of just it makes it more minor and not the focus of the story, because the focus of the story is Max and like her development of relationship with Chloe or with the other people in the town. Like that's what really roped me into the game, and not so much the time powers. But I don't know. How do y'all feel about Max's powers?
Give me time to think. What do you think, Jess?
Oh God, what Max and her relationship with her powers, like,
or just the fact that you never really find out where her powers came from or anything.
Yeah, that is interesting considering it's the whole background of the story. I think if it's it just kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I mean, it could have been like something he was born with, or something that just kind of came out of nowhere. But it definitely makes her unique for sure. And it kind of almost like a superhero. Like, I feel like Max without her powers is like Frank without his beans.
What a tragedy.
I don't know. I went back to the beans. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously, it makes her definitely different than all the other characters. And it, I feel like how she only tells Chloe and Warren about the powers, definitely telling how strong their relationship is with her. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like with Max's powers, it kind of reminded me of of a movie that I seen really recently called The Butterfly Effect, because it pretty much has the same premise where Ashton Kutcher's character can go back in time through his journals, like he kept his diaries where he wrote down all his memories and stuff. So he kind of it's kind of like how Max went back to try and save William, and then pretty much an alternate timeline happened from there. It's kind of like that, and it kind of makes you feel that Max is really trying her best to be responsible with powers, trying to look after others more than herself, I guess.
Right.
Especially trying to save Chloe, God knows how many times.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I thought of Back to the Future. Of all things.
And they even reference that in the game as well.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of times. I think the most notable bit is with Alyssa. Asking what your favorite sci-fi movie is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know, and I think Max doesn't even know, too. I think that's what a lot of, like, the doubt that she has is, like, would she even be capable of doing this if she didn't have these powers? Which I think she would be. I mean, obviously, I saved Kate on the rooftop, and so therefore Max saved Kate without use of powers. I think it's just an interesting motif, really. But
yeah.
I think like Max's powers is kind of like the push of confidence that she kind of needs to actually interact with people a lot more like strongly, because without her powers, I don't think Max would have been able to confront Victoria like she did in episode 4.
Yeah.
Was trying to warn about Nathan.
But then also too, with Max using her powers, you see what happens. So it's kind of like she gets these powers somehow, however she gets them, and instead of just like doing all this stuff by herself, by her constantly using her powers, the storm just gets worse and worse. And so it's like the consequence of, not doing this organically, kind of forcing the hand of others, and then, rewinding to make it seem like basically just manipulating them in a way. You kind of see, well, I mean, you not kind of see, you see that that causes this huge that potentially destroys Arcadia Bay, and, potentially kills all the people in it. So yeah, I mean, and that's another thing too that I feel like I could talk for a few more hours.
Yeah, we could talk about like for like forever about Max, because the amount of detail that is put in the game about her, it's just we could go on for a long time.
But I guess that's why we're doing the podcast.
Yeah. One of the many reasons.
So yeah, did you have anything else? Jamie, did you have anything else before we move on?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Alright, well, do Everyday Heroes then.
Sounds good.
Okay, to those who aren't familiar with Everyday Heroes, it's a segment that we put in towards the end of the show where we appreciate the content created by the community, whether it be cosplay or fan art at the moment. We will try to incorporate more products like videos, maybe songs at one point, if we get the permission of the artist and whatnot, because that's pretty much the big rule that we have as co-hosts, is we only show the art that we have permission for.
Right.
Which is important. So, yeah. So this week's theme is about Max, because we've been talking pretty much almost an hour about her. And, so, Jess, since you're the new host, why won't you go first?
Okay. So my choice was the Max cosplay by The Awakened on Instagram. She definitely captures Max's emotions in the picture that she took. I really love the colors that are used in the picture. She has her clothes on. She looks exactly like Max. I mean, it was just really amazing. I couldn't not ask her to. It's just beautiful. Yeah, her emotions are just so and powerful. Her hand reaching out towards the camera, just absolutely great job.
It kind of reminds me of the I think it's the first image that we ever saw of Max,
Yeah.
She's going to be on the cover of the limited edition coming out this January.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So she probably took influence from that, but it's a really great cosplay.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, it's kind
She's got the expression down.
Yeah, I mean, even with the hair styling, not many cosplays can pull that off.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite thing about this is where she has the light source position for the photo, which it doesn't. It's not so much like the cosplay itself, but just the photo is like it's the extended hand, and it kind of gives off just like the atmosphere of like when Max is using her powers. Not articulating that very well, but the shadows that it casts and all that, it's almost like you would see that light coming from her hand as she was rewinding time.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing that I like too is I'm guessing the Jane Doe t-shirt was more of a crew neck, and she actually went through and took the time to modify the shirt so that it more matched the in-game shirt than I guess what the physical real life shirt is.
Yeah.
So great job, The Awakened. And also, that's probably going to be the only name that we pronounce right ever again.
I'm pretty confident about this next one.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so my choice this week is a Max portrait called Life is Strange by Atucha on DeviantArt. I think I did pretty well with the pronunciation, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I chose it because, oh boy, where to begin? You don't really see that many images which just concentrate on really one kind of color in like the background, which is mainly pink.
Mm-hmm.
And even with like Max's pink hoodie and the detail in the eyes, showing like the expression of Max, the hair, the overall shading of it, just kind of just blew me away, really. But then again, so does most of the fan art that we show on here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very like soft image. I think that captures sort of the timid nature. God, I sound so pretentious, but it captures just sort of the timid, nature that Max has. It's very, very excellent job. Yeah, so I guess that leaves my choice. Unless, Jess, you had something to say about...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's beautifully drawn. I love how her head is not straight on, it's like a portrait. Just the shading is phenomenal. I totally agree with you guys. I don't think I could have said anything better. But yeah, I mean, being an artist, definitely, I definitely see it there. So it's just, yeah, amazing.
All right. Well, I picked a picture called With Me by Callist, I believe, on the art. First of all, I loved all their artwork, and I had a difficult time choosing the specific image to use of Max because they have a couple of different Max ones, but I like this one for a few different reasons. I like how the background has kind of that faded look, so you could almost imagine it being like an old photograph that's kind of around the edges from people, touching it, and the ink has worn off like an old Polaroid. And I really, really, really liked around the blue butterfly, how they did just a great job with shading to make it look like the butterfly was glowing. I thought that was a really, really awesome detail. And I don't know, it also just very much looks like it could be in Arcadia Bay. Like just what little bit you see of the background and all that, that's just how I picture Arcadia Bay and on a good day, on a sunny day.
I don't know where to start because I'm kind of getting. This is going to sound so cheesy, but I'm kind of getting emotional because I'm not sure if this was the artist's intention, but it kind of reminds me of at the end of episode 5 with the Sacrifice Chloe ending where it's at the funeral and then the blue butterfly kind of just lands on top of the coffin.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that and just feels...
So emotional.
We'll have an episode where we all just cry together.
Yeah, sounds good. But yeah, I definitely love the position that Max is in too, like how she's not sitting straight up, she's like leaning over, like hunched, like with her hand behind, I think that's behind her neck, right? Yeah, she's looking in a totally, like, she's not looking straight at the camera or whatever, the audience, she's kind of just like off in her own mind, in her own world, and it's just, I absolutely love everything about it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's no perspective. I know from just how many times I've tried to do it and how terrible of an artist I am, how hard perspective drawings are, and I feel like they kept the proportions really well for the perspective that it's at, and so awesome job. Thank you very much to the Awakened, Atucha, and Callist. Keep it up. You guys are rocking it. Yeah. If you want to be featured on Everyday Heroes, if you have some fan art you'd like to submit to us, you can do so. You can email it to us. You can tweet us, which all that information will be up in the credits, and then also you can find out information on our website, which is blackwellpodcast.wordpress.com.
And will be featured on the website as well.
Right. And it will link through to your pages. If we don't get submissions, what we usually do is reach out. So if you are an artist and you see one of us reaching out to you, it means we love your stuff and we want to use it on the show, and we hope you'll let us.
So that's it for this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, because without Max's powers, we wouldn't really have this game. And the reason that Max found her powers was because of Chloe, who we are going to be talking about next week.
Right. Oh boy.
Honestly, this is going to be just
have the tissues
fun.
Ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
definitely.
I think definitely next week we should try and have a tally counter to see how many times we mention Chloe dying in the game.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Still.
All right. Well, make sure you guys tune in. Make sure all y'all tune in and subscribe to us if you like what we do. If you have any ideas for the show, email us, tweet us, leave a comment, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.